Could be coaching. It doesn't let you play like yourself. You're trying to process so much information.
I get that you guys' jobs are to get clicks, so it's like when you take my quote out of context and when you just say that, I need to play better, that's it, point blank.
Congratulations, Arizona, Indianapolis, and Houston. There's a new lord of disaster in the NFL, and it's the Chicago Bears. All the bad teams across the league dealing with minor dysfunction, please send a very nice thank you note to the Bears. Like handwrite them in calligraphy, because it's that bad in Chicago right now. They've had the worst start to the season, and it's not really close. There are issues with Justin Fields, and I'll reveal how he was actually right in his now infamous press conference, as well as their front office approach and the shocking and sudden resignation of defensive coordinator Alan Williams. We don't know exactly why he stepped away from his coaching duties, but I'll break down what we do know. So hang in there, Bears fans. You deserve better. And I'm here to tell you why good times are coming. Just kidding, it's probably gonna get worse. That's good. Sports. Hey, my favorite beef jerky, Jack Link's, just happens to be sponsoring today's episode. Is this a fantasy? No, I'm still here. This is real. Wait, why is my teriyaki beef jerky empty? Oh yeah, because I ate it. I accidentally ate all of it to help fuel up for my highly competitive annual flag football game. Luckily, I got reserves. You can never have enough jerky on your depth chart. Despite having the perfect amount of Jack Link's jerky in my belly, ample training, and 30 minutes of groin stretching and only groin stretching, that did not help me from severely spraining my ankle while catching a pass. Seriously, this was my foot after the game. Jack Link's told me, please do not show your foot, not even for a second. Well, that was 29 frames. And to avoid any further injury and humiliation, I think I'll just stick to playing fantasy football this year, where my fantasies of winning the league will, oh yeah, probably also end in humiliation. Actually, I'm just gonna stick to eating Jack Link's. Jack Link's, you'll never let me down, will you? You're always gonna be there for me. I love you. Say it back. Say you love me back. Well, then why can't you just say it? If you love me, just say it back. After a promising sophomore season fueled by 1,143 rushing yards and 8 rushing touchdowns, Justin Fields has to show that he is the guy for the Bears this season. Ending the 2022 season, they were the most optimistic 3-win last place team I've ever seen. Maybe not internally, but from a media perspective. Now, they traded out of the top spot in the draft, acquired DJ Moore as a weapon for Justin Fields, and selected tackle Darnell Wright with pick 10 to protect him, and Texas running back Roschon Johnson to carry the load after David Montgomery left. To improve the worst defense in the league in 2022, one that gave up 27.2 points per game, Chicago added Bills linebacker Tremaine Edmonds, Eagles linebacker TJ Edwards, and defensive end DeMarcus Walker, and eventually Yannick Ngakoue. They needed to be able to stop the run, as they were second worst on earth, hence the linebackers, and they also needed to get to the quarterback. Their 20 sacks last season, dead last, as was their pressure rate. I mean, their rookie safety, Jaquan Brisker, led the team in sacks with 4. The Bears were as bad as they could be, stripped down to nothing. And while they were sellers last year, trading away Roquan Smith and Robert Quinn, the second-round draft pick they gave up for Chase Claypool will never, ever make sense. The Claypool trade made about as much sense as a David Lynch film, except you can't hide behind the word art in the NFL.
Bullshit.
Even Canada won't take Chase Claypool back right now. They said he's, quote, too polite in the wide receiver blocking game. And if you have a quarterback like Justin Fields, you want dogs out there to block. Remember when Lamar Jackson had an MVP season? Yeah, guys got dirty for him. Chicago gave up a premium pick for Claypool, which turned out to be the first pick in the second round, where they could have had corner Joey Porter Jr. Now, GM Ryan Poles got so much love for being the worst team in the NFL and acquiring DJ Moore and future first-round picks that everyone forgot how utterly stupid bringing in Claypool was. Claypool may have been the most criticized player week 1 next to Kadarius Toney, and I'd rather have Toney getting critiqued for dropping balls than the guy who was called out for an embarrassing lack of effort.
Cannot win with him. Cannot coach with him. Can't do it.
Thank you, Mike Singletary. I agree. I say all that, though, to remind everyone that the Bears front office is far from showing that they are indeed good. Poor Bears fans were allowed to have their expectations elevated way too high. Hello, I'm a Broncos fan from the Russell Wilson trade era. So take a seat next to me here, Bears fans. My football therapist is really good. His name is Dr. Bourbon. So drink up. It doesn't make the pain go away, but it does numb it. Now, outside of DJ Moore, I'm not sure how much they actually improved via free agency in the draft. Now, time will tell with tackle Darnell Wright, but the Bears line at the moment, not good. They're giving up pressure 39% of the time without opposing defenses needing to blitz. Tevin Jenkins is on IR and approaching bust territory, and their starting left tackle Braxton Jones is now on IR. The other teams that are worse in that pressure category, Panthers, Giants, Steelers, and Jets. Everyone watching those teams knows the problem starts with their lines. And unlike those teams, maybe excluding the Giants, the Bears have a quarterback who can smoke defenses with his legs. And against the Buccaneers, Fields rushed 4 times for 3 yards. Fucking let him run, Chicago! You did this exact same stuff last season until Ryan Fitzmagic called you out in prime time. Now, it's not just that the Bears started 0-2 and got thoroughly outplayed in both games. It's that everything going on in Chicago behind the scenes feels like a mess. Justin Fields coaching and whatever the hell is going on with the resigned defensive coordinator Alan Williams now. Let's start, though, with Justin Fields, who the players voted as the 86th best player in the NFL this year, 10 spots ahead of Trevor Lawrence. 10 sacks taken through 2 games. That's tied for second most. The Packers sacked Fields 4 times. The next week, they sacked Desmond Ridder once. They also gave up over 200 rushing yards to the Falcons, which tells me the 122 rushing yards the Bears put up on Green Bay, a huge underachievement. Fields, quite simply, has been one of the worst quarterbacks so far this season, which is really saying something, isn't it? A passer rating of 70.7, bottom 6, more interceptions than touchdowns. There's not a single stat you can hang your hat on with him right now. Even if they were 0-2, but he was doing one thing really well, you could be optimistic. That one thing should be leading all quarterbacks in rushing yards. Unfortunately, Justin Fields made the greatest mistake you can make as a quarterback. He was honest. He was honest about the Bears' struggles.
I felt like, I wasn't necessarily playing my game. Felt like I was kind of robotic and, not playing like myself. So.
Okay, so there he is, placing blame on himself. I wasn't playing my game. I was robotic. Had he just done it like that, nobody would have cared. And while he isn't a veteran media ass kisser, like say Kirk Cousins, who took all the blame after he was perfect on Thursday Night Football.
I'm going to be hard on myself, right? I'm going to say, look, that ball shouldn't have stopped him. The ball stops him, so he has to go up and get it and then has to pull through. What if I threw a perfect ball?
To me, that's Justin Fields saying he needs to be better.
Say F it and just go out there and, play football how I know how to play football.
Yes, fuck it, and play how you know how to play, Justin. All of that was fine. No drama about what he said, but then a reporter asked him, what do you think is causing you to think too much? A good question, and instead of saying some strong-ass weed, he just flat out said coaching.
What do you think was causing you to think so much, maybe think too much?
Could be, coaching, I think. But, at the end of the day, it makes it, they're doing their job when they're giving me, what to look at and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I, can't be thinking about that when the game comes. I prepare myself throughout the week, and then when the game comes, it's, it's time to play free at that point.
And that's when all media hell broke loose. Justin Fields criticizes Bears coaching. Justin Fields says the Bears coaches should be in prison. Justin Fields says the town of Green Bay is superior to Chicago. Oh boy, did the sports world run with that soundbite and tried to destroy Fields and the Bears offensive coordinator Luke Getsy at the same time. So much so that after practice that same day, Fields had to walk back his comments here.
When you take my quote out of context, and when you just say that, if you paint the picture on the inside out, like y'all are trying to split us up as a team. I'm not blaming anything on the coaches. I'm never gonna blame anything on the coaches. Never gonna blame anything on my teammates. I need to play better. That's it, point blank. If y'all, that's what I should have said in the first place. But I was trying to give y'all more details.
The lesson, Justin, is to never say anything interesting or honest, unless it's a funny joke or something silly. And Fields is a serious dude, so I don't see that happening soon. What sucks is that Fields, again, was honest. He gave us an answer that is typically reserved as a conversation between players and coaches. He said there's too much information to process, and it's taking away from his ability to play on instincts. I get that. What got lost was what he said after the coaching soundbite.
I don't think it's too many coaching voices, but I just think when, you're fed a lot of information at a point in time and you're trying to think about that info, like when you're playing, it's like it doesn't let you play like yourself. You're trying to, process so much information to where it's like, if I just simplified in my mind, I would have did this. Like I saw a few plays on Sunday to where if I was playing like my old self, like we would have had a positive play. Like there would have been, a few more third down conversions. So
it's pathetic that as soon as we got a real answer from a quarterback, we used it to trash the dude. I think Luke Getsy will fix this with Fields. I think they will simplify things because they did figure that out last year. And I believe Getsy assumed Fields was more ready to run complex shit than he is. Getsy had that luxury in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers. And it's okay if a quarterback's not ready to run an offense the way Brady and Manning did by year 3 when that quarterback offers something those guys never did. Athleticism, which Fields definitely has. Also, why is it okay for coaches to call out players, but never vice versa? In the NFL, you can take your slow-ass time to develop a guy as a pocket passer or whatever antiquated shit you want to run if that QB can beat defenses in other ways. Fields can. Josh Allen could. Lamar Jackson could. Hell, Dan Jones didn't look good until Brian Dable unleashed his legs last year. Get back to that and the Bears offense will be decent. Additionally, run the ball with your fucking running back, Chicago. You let David Montgomery go so you could get 27 and 35 rushing yards from Khalil Herbert. 4 carries from Roschon Johnson in week 2. It's not complicated.
Run the ball. Run the ball.
Quit outthinking yourself, Getsy. Call an offense to the strength of your quarterback and slowly add in the shit that will benefit him as a quarterback long term. Then, defensive coordinator Alan Williams resigned Wednesday after being away from the team for a while. Now, this story and situation is concerning to possibly incredibly problematic. Now, if you were on the internet this week, you noticed that Williams is being accused of possibly committing some pretty horrific crimes. Now, I'm not gonna mention what that is here because at the moment, nothing has been substantiated, and if it's not true, it's an insane lie to perpetuate. But the rumors are wild, with people saying that the Bears facility was raided by the FBI, as was Williams' home, and that Charles Peanut Tillman, former Bear, was leading the charge. All of that was being said, all of those rumors circulated, and while that was happening, he did step away from the team. Thankfully, Ian Rappaport went to Twitter and clarified that the Bears facility, Hallis Hall, was not raided, that former Bear Charles Peanut Tillman, who is now an FBI agent, did not kick down the doors there, and that the NFL is not investigating anything right now. That being said, there was no confirmation that Williams isn't being looked into by the FBI or authorities. It was also very strange that Williams put out a statement of his resignation through an attorney. Call me crazy, but I don't think saying leaving your job to focus on health and family requires an attorney. He also noted that he wants to come back and coach. Now, the Bears' statement of his release is even stranger. It was one sentence. Alan Williams submitted his resignation as the team's defensive coordinator this afternoon. That was the full release. That is the Dwight Schrute of press releases.
Why waste time? Say lot word when few word do trick.
Not a thank you, not a as sad as we are to lose Alan, we hope he's able to get healthy and return to coaching soon. None of that, which leads me to believe something else is going on there. I just say give it time, because if there is something else there, we will know as soon as someone has legit sources. Now, for the sake of this video, let's just assume Alan stepped away for health and family reasons. Let's just assume that. Although I'd argue my family is the cause of my health problems. But potato, genetically modified potato. Let's just say the Bears unexpectedly lost their defensive coordinator. Straight football talk. Here's what I found concerning for the Bears. ESPN's Courtney Cronin reported that head coach Matt Eberflus said this.
When asked whether it would be a problem to not have a defensive coordinator on staff, Eberflus said, quote, "I think with the experience that we have on defense, I don't think that's an issue."
Matt, you just completely devalued the defensive coordinator job. If not having a DC on your team isn't a big deal, why the fuck does every team in the league have one? I can function with just one kidney, but I'd prefer to have both. For drinking purposes, okay? The Broncos had Vic Fangio as their head coach with Ed Donatel as the guy who had the title as defensive coordinator, even though we all knew Fangio was calling the shots there. Meatball. Bears fans know how good of a DC Fangio was, and there are plenty of teams who have offensive coordinators who don't do much because the head coach is calling the plays. Sean McVay does it, Kyle Shanahan, Andy Reid, Mike McDaniel, they all call plays. And you can be without a coordinator if you are a next level one yourself. Eberflus is not. Matt Eberflus was the coordinator in Indy, so he and others could get by without a true DC. But make no mistake, when he was with the Colts, they weren't some all-time insane defense. He wasn't considered some mad genius like Fangio was or like McVay is on offense. He was just good. And through 2 games, the Bears, where they have not had a defensive coordinator, they are giving up the 2nd most points per game at 32, the 6th most passing yards per game. So yeah, they're bad. They look like a team that doesn't have a defensive coordinator. The Bears are at a breaking point though. Sadly, we watched something similar happen to the Raiders back in 2021. Henry Ruggs was drunk driving and killed a woman in a car crash. The team released Damon Arnett after he posted videos of himself with a gun threatening someone on Instagram. And of course, John Gruden was forced to resign after his emails were leaked. I'd never seen such a messed up set of events happen within one football organization all at once. And I didn't think I'd ever see it again, and the Bears are close. We're here, we're close with the Bears. I hope it's not as bad as what people are saying it might be. But it's not good right now. And the Bears were a team many thought could be knocking on the door of the playoffs. But something strange happened with the Raiders that season. Rich Bisaccia took over as head coach. Derek Carr became a true leader, and they started playing good football, unexpectedly. It was a team that appeared to have no reason to play. And then in week 17, they beat the Chargers to get into the postseason. I think all of the tragedy and BS surrounding the Raiders that year galvanized them as a team in the locker room. I am hoping the same can happen for the Chicago Bears. A win for Chicago this week would be huge. It would be one of those a win cures all type scenarios. But just maybe, within all the chaos, Chicago can come together in a us versus the world type approach to the rest of the season.
Say F it and just go out there and, play football how I know how to play football.
Thanks for watching That's Good Sports. Please subscribe here on YouTube. Also, make sure you check out this week's power rankings before Sunday. Let me know if you like the curse your team got.